It's 2 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and call the public, call to order the public hearing. That's the first part of our agenda today. So this is a public hearing related to the proposed transfer of $196 from the educational fund to the operations and maintenance fund. So turn it over to Rachel.
Sure. These funds are needed to cover a portion of the expenditures for the mechanical and roofing project that's happening currently in Southeast Alternative School. The total anticipated cost of the project, including contingencies, is about $2.4 million, and the remaining budgeted amount is still $1.8 million. So it's just recommended that the board approve the resolution to approve. There'll be an action item later in the meeting to approve the resolution.
Any public comment, discussion related to what's proposed in the hearing? Seeing none, I'm going to officially adjourn the public hearing. And now we will call our meeting of the Board of Directors of SACID to order. Roll call, please.
School District 20,
Here.
District 25,
Here.
District 33, District 34, District 45,
Here.
District 48, here, District 58, District 60,
Here.
District 63,
Here.
District 66, District 68, District 88,
Here.
District 94,
Here.
District 99,
Here.
District 180,
Here.
District 201, District 202, District 205. Here. We report.
Okay, would y'all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item is public comments. Is anyone here that would like to make public comments?
We have none that came in either.
Okay. Next item, consent agenda. Anyone that would like to see any items removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda.
So moved 99. Second 94.
Roll call, please.
District 180, District 205,
Yes.
District 20,
Yes.
District 25,
Yes.
District 33,
Yes.
District 45,
Yes.
District 48,
Yes.
District 60,
Yes.
District 63,
Yes.
District 68, I'm sorry, District 88,
Yes.
District 94,
Yes.
District 99.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, action items. First item for action is the resolution authorizing the transfer of $878,196 from the education fund to the operations and maintenance fund. I'll entertain a motion in a second.
Motion 25.
Second 20.
Any questions? Okay, roll call please.
District 33,
Yes.
District 45,
Yes.
District 48,
Yes.
District 60,
Yes.
District 63,
Yes.
District 88,
Yes.
District 94,
Yes.
District 99,
Yes.
District 180,
Yes.
District 205. Yes, I'm sorry, that's okay. District 20,
Yes.
District 25.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, next item, the authorization to release the July 2025 disbursements prior to August 6th, which is necessary because there is not a July Board of Directors meeting. I'll entertain a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion. 63. Second. 60.
Any questions? Okay, roll call please.
District 88,
Yes.
District 94,
Yes.
District 99,
Yes.
District 180, District 205,
Yes.
District 20,
Yes.
District 25,
Yes.
District 33,
Yes.
District 45,
Yes.
District 48,
Yes.
District 60,
Yes.
District 63.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, item 6C, the approval of the revised lease addendum for 2900 Ogden Avenue. Rachel, I'll turn this to you, or to Dr. Dry.
I'll take it, yeah. So the addendum actually extends the current lease to 2031, so there was a typo in the memo that you have. But the good news is we were able to get 2 escape clause dates in here. So we need to notify, if we want to end our termination May 31st, 2027, we need to notify our landlord by November 30th, 2026. And if we need another year to 2028, we need to notify him by the 30th of November 2027. So I feel pretty good about those 2 dates that we were able to negotiate. And then starting 2026, so next school year, there'll be a 2% increase in our rent, which I thought was fair as well. So we were glad that we were able to do this, and we're thankful that our landlord was right. He realizes that this is a good thing for both parties involved, so I feel pretty good about this.
I'll entertain a motion and a second.
So moved, District 48.
Second, 45. 45.
Okay, questions or concerns related to this item? Seeing none, roll call.
District 60?
Yes.
District 63?
Yes.
District 88?
Yes.
District 94?
Yes.
District 99?
Yes.
District 180?
Yes.
District 205? District 20?
Yes.
District 25?
Yes.
District 33?
Yes.
District 45?
Yes.
District 48?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, moving on to item 7, discussion information items. So item A, committee reports. I'll turn this over to Dr. Dreyer.
Sure. So we, at the Finance Committee meeting, we met on June 4th. We talked about the Medicaid cost settlement. Rachel presented us what the breakdown would actually look like. So I attached that in the memo. You should all have that, but it was just really documenting our conversations that we've had over the past school year. Rachel and I also brought an updated facility cost analysis. When we met probably a few months ago over in Winfield, we had shared an overall savings of about $5 million in costs predicted. So we did go through that. We tried to do a little bit more strategic planning with the facilities. The facility committee asked us to add a couple updates in there, so we're working on that, and once we get that all together, we'll share it out with everyone on the board. I will tell you our staffing costs from this year's staffing to an anticipated cost for a centralized location. We're still anticipating a savings in staffing of about $4 million. And then the rent and the facilities costs that we currently, in operations, we anticipate about a $2 million savings. That does not take into account a new building or purchase. So we're still trending pretty well on track with those estimates, and once I have those finalized, I'll send them out in a board memo to everybody. Facility meeting was canceled. Next facility meeting is August 27th, and the next finance committee is September 3rd at 8 o'clock over here. Any questions?
Seeing none. Item 7B, SASS strategic plan updates.
So I know we usually go through these pretty quickly. Want to take a couple minutes today. End of the year, we have a lot of successes to celebrate at SASSA, and I wanted to go through them through our strategic plan. Our strategic plan has benchmarks already identified. This is what I walked into, Lizzie walked into, so we're continuing to gather the benchmarks for what has been identified as the benchmarks, and then we've added some other accomplishments and projections moving forward. And then I also have a section in here for our focus for next year. I'd like to spend a little time on that. I want to make sure that I'm able to lead my team in the direction that I think we need to go, but clearly you are all stakeholders, and I want to make sure that if I'm missing anything, we have that on there as well. So first goal was recruitment, and the benchmark was to measure fill rates for positions throughout the organization. So I brought this in midterm. You could see at the end of the year, our biggest unfilled positions remain with our program and one-to-one TAs, about 12%
unfilled positions, and then we've had a couple of our social workers leave us, and then we also had a teacher. So our overall percent of unfilled positions is 5.6, which is a little bit of a decline from first semester, but I don't think it's really that significant. The next measure I went through at the last time I updated this did not change. This is a measured increase in percentage of staff by job category returning, so we'll have this filled out and completed next year for everybody. Other accomplishments, we were able to increase the amount of college and university partnerships we have, but the next step is really for Lizzie and I and a couple of members of our administrative team to take this to a deeper level. We have some meetings set up with NIU, North Central, COD, Benedictine. I think you have a board member that is the Dean of Admissions or the Dean of Education that I met at the governing board at Benedictine. So our goal is to really enhance our partnerships and come up with plans to recruit their teachers, and also to recruit kids that might be looking for part-time work. We would love to bring them on as classroom assistants and really look at a different type of schedule, a more flexible schedule. So we're going to be doing that over the summer. We plan on hosting a luncheon here for some of our local universities. We really hope to corner the market with special education, and not only for SACID, but for everyone here, by saying, we are a great training ground for special education. We want to explain why, we want to explain the great initiatives that we have going on, and really hope to build our partnerships with our local universities. Our overall goal is to build a sustainable pipeline with our local community colleges and universities to increase our direct hires. We also this year developed a recruitment committee and a culture committee. Recruitment, they overlapped. The more we dug into recruitment, the more really came up that if we don't have a good culture, it's going to be hard to get folks to come and stay. So there was a lot of overlap. We spent a lot of time just really focusing on getting people together, by increasing that culture. So we had a holiday party. We had about 150 staff out of our 400 participate. We had an end of the year picnic where we celebrated our retirees. We also feel a very strong need to increase our family participation as well. So we had a night at the museum for our families and our staff. We reintroduced Most Valuable Employee. Nobody was interested in the Biggest Loser competition, but that's okay. We had an after-work bowling outing. And then being in this building, there was a specific focus on our staff here. This was an area that was identified as really low culture, really low morale. So there was a lot of purposeful initiatives that really went into building a central office team. And we had 3 committees, all led, Senga led our Sunshine Committee, Muffin, our receptionist, led our social committee, and then Chris Miller, Lizzie's assistant, led our beautification committee. And it was great. We had a lot of really fun activities. That Muffin plan, we just had a cougar game a couple weeks ago, but just bringing central office closer together. Chris focused a lot with her team on our foyer, making that more approachable and inviting, and Senga, as always, kicked it out of the park with her team, and instead of keeping it within our district office, brought it to all of SACID with our Sunshine Club. So we were pretty excited. It was nice. Next year, we're going to kind of bring the committees that we have to sunset, but SACID historically has had a steering committee. I got a lot of feedback on that, and our staff, our teachers, our associations would really like to have the steering committee back. So we're looking at taking members from those committees, bringing them back to the steering committee. We're going to have 4 focuses on the steering committee. We're going to have behavior and our RTOs. We're going to have culture and retention, instruction, and then facilities. So it'll be kind of like a web that goes up the steering committee to the little committees, back up to the steering committee. And we'll continue to organize activities for staff and for our families. We hope to see an increase with that. We also have the results from the annual survey. So SACIT has been administering a survey for, at least it goes back to 2022. And I want to say, so the survey is given to 4 different groups. There's very similar surveys, but they focus on the way things are worded for staff. It's a little bit different based on their position. So we have a survey that goes out to our teachers, a survey that goes out to our central office, our itinerants and OTs and PTs, and then our non-certified staff. We had 219 members complete the survey, which is 100 more than what we had completed last year. Our trend data is going up compared to last year, but when we look at 2022, we haven't reached where we were yet. So we kind of we were here, we went here, and now we're about here. So we're making progress. Significant increases though from last year to this year were identified in a couple areas, specifically with the teachers. Teachers noted better satisfaction with their classroom locations, with relationships with building staff, and I really think that has a lot to do with the work that we did on the addendum that we put in for the leases. So thank you for that. Instructional materials, tech, opportunities for feedback, communication between staff and leadership, clarity of performance expectations, and clarity of IEP procedures. Our related services and itinerant staff more satisfied with technology. Educational support staff more satisfied with technology, communication with leadership, opportunities for feedback and chain of command. And then central office, technology, relationships, and communication with leadership. So one, the technology across the board is Dan and his team. They have, Dan joined us in November. He has done an absolutely amazing job. He listens, he's thoughtful in the way he approaches everything, and it was really nice to see those results from all 4 groups in the short amount of time he's been here working with Jeff and with Brad. So kudos to those guys. And then we also focused a lot on this year was like just bringing back basics. Like, what is a chain of command? Like, we're not going to have people going everywhere. What is a chain of command? So I was glad to see an increase with that. Those were specific target areas that were targeted. Some decreases where we need to do better. Support with challenging parents and students, consistent and fair treatment. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. I have some thoughts into that. And then areas just that have been lower overall. They're not lower than they were last year, but we could do better. Opportunities for feedback, classroom assistance, availability of substitutes, department team meetings, clarity of expectations, adequate training, availability of substitutes, and here in central office we always hear about facilities. So I want to talk a little bit about the support for challenging, the differences with the opportunities for feedback and dealing with challenging parents. A lot of this was based on program input. So depending on what program you were in, with particularly the fair and consistent treatment, we had some programs and program administrators that were very, very, very good at ensuring that their PLCs were meeting, that there was a purpose of their PLCs, communicating incredibly well. And then some of our programs weren't getting the communication at the same pace. There weren't expectations for PLCs. So what we found, what I think this data means, and through a lot of the comments that I received through this, was it's more of a consistent treatment and fair treatment from all of the programs, right? They want what the other programs have. And I will give kudos to another one of my staff members, Tara Corral. Some of her cultures, like, we just want more Tara time. Just give us Tara. So I do think that the new structure that we're going to have in place is going to address a lot of these inconsistencies. So I wasn't glad about these results, but I think we have a plan to address these results. We also had about 1,000 comments. I went through all of them, coded them, and when I say coded, like, not like ABC, but read through them all and kind of sorted them. Aside from a few personal and professional comments, we had some good data. The staff, majority, the folks love the kids that they work with, they love the staff, and they really appreciate the specificity that they have with their colleagues. Technology, again, was, an improvement. There still continues to be issues in our buildings with connectivity, printing, which really throws people off, but overall, it's been going well. Accountability and expectations. Our staff want things, they want the expectations, and they want their colleagues to be held accountable for everything. Special emphasis was placed on our contractual staff and, just clear communication. Staff, again, vocalized the strong desire to have routine, GLTs and PLTs, those are our equivalent of PLCs, collaboration and problem solving. There was some anxiety noted with the administrative realignment. We have plans to address that. Workspace, folks in the building, they need more, they want more sensory space, they want more space to be able to work individually with students, space that's quiet and private. Overall recruitment, more staff, more direct hires, more substitutes, which I know we're all pretty much struggling with. And then we got a wide range of professional development topics. There was one interesting thing that kept coming through is we had a lot of staff saying, when we call you, we want you to tell us what to do. And then we had other folks say, listen, we're professionals, we need to be trusted to do this. It was also programmatically based, with depending on what program they were on, what type of messaging they're getting. So it was a really interesting message. And again, I really believe that the realignment that we've done with the administrative positions is going to alleviate that. There were some comments like, everything shouldn't need to be run up to Kim and Lizzie. You're right? It doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be. So just a lot of contradictory input, but it makes sense knowing the culture of our organization and the differences in the programs and how they're being run. So the next step for us is really to fully explain and implement the new administrative realignment. We did this because we want more administrative support and presence in all of our classes. We want more IEP support and consistency. We want our expectations clearly identified, and we want consistent expectations for all of our team meetings. So again, this feedback was great because I hope that it goes down to this, a lot by next year. We also, my administrative team, my new administrative team, and some teacher leaders will be participating in a 3-day Dare to Lead session this summer. We have a trainer coming out, so we're in July, so we're very excited about that. We'll make sure that we have the support needed for pathways, everything that Lizzie was talking to us about last month in regard to Kuro and AIM. And then we do have a lot of summer professional development going on already. We had IEP facilitation last week. And then it was our goal, we just didn't get to it yet, is to have an annual calendar of all of our professional development and to bulk that up. So overall goal, we want to increase staff satisfaction as measured by this survey. This was the best quote that I got. I loved it. It said there have been improvements. I appreciate and see the change that has been done and is still being rolled out. That being said, we are far away from a functional working organization. So I appreciate that, and I agree with that, and we have a lot of steps to take still, and we're making great strides in those areas. In the area of exemplary programs and services, one of the metrics that was identified was to increase the percentage of district referrals resulting in placement. There wasn't any baseline data. This semester, 3 referrals were rejected. When Lizzie and I looked into that a little bit more, we should have accepted them, and steps have been taken to ensure that that communication is appropriate. And then last semester we had 2, so total of 5 this year, so this will be our baseline. We also had a metric to increase student participation. Whoops. In general education. So Lizzie put together this inclusion tracker. I know we reviewed it last year. Really or last semester, what I really want to focus on are the students in the 301 to 600, 600 to 900, and 900 to 1200 minutes. And we talk about our facilities, and we talk about having satellite classes, and we talk about parents, really wanting their students to be mainstreamed and included. We're looking at a very small number of our students that are included, probably more meaningful in academic classes or electives. The 0 minutes to 1 to 300 minutes are potentially PE, lunch, those types of areas. But when we get into these areas, when we see 16, 20 of our DHH students, that's why we continue to need to have those satellite classes. Our SLE classes, we have about 11 students. We believe our satellite classes will cover that. And then our vision students also are experiencing more inclusion. So we want to continue to support that as we look at our facilities. We also had a benchmark to look at the increase in our enrollment in our transition program. End of the year was 28. We started with 27, and next year we're anticipated to have 30. So we're making some changes that'll be implemented next year. We hope to see that number rise. And then we did not re-administer a survey to your special ed directors. That was on me. I just didn't do it. So we'll have that data in there next year bid survey. The other goal, and I'm not going to go through this very much because I know Lizzie went through, actually that's the next session, the professional learning. So we also have a benchmark, staff input on professional learning. So our data, again, this is our baseline data. Satisfaction professional learning, you could see the difference between January and May of this year. It went down a little bit at the end of the year. I think this was probably given before we had all of our summer PD posted, so note to self, we'll do that differently next year. But we needed to get some benchmarking on that, some baseline data. And then the walkthrough data. So Lizzie and her team scheduled several walkthroughs, purposeful walkthroughs. They didn't gather the data in a sense where I'm able to report it out. It was really more about gathering data, what needs to be done to support the growth in the programs. So I think ideally this goal might have been written to say we want to know how many students are that, how many learning objectives are on the board. We want to know, are the students engaged? And there was a informal way to collect that data. When Lizzie and her team went in, they're like, we're not there yet. So we kind of need to back that up, and they've been doing more formal types of walkthroughs, taking a look at how teacher and student interaction, engagement areas, and then a lot of the professional development that Lizzie talked about last year was developed based on that walkthrough data. And then other accomplishments, again, I know Lizzie went through this last month, so I'm not going to go through it again. You know where we're moving with that. In the area of communication, we do, the metric was internal and external participants reported increase in being satisfied or very satisfied on the communication survey items. These are the survey communication items. So there have been increases from last year to this year with teachers in regard to opportunities for feedback, communication between staff and leadership. These were the specific goals from the survey that were related to communication, which I went through already a little bit. Then there was a goal to increase guidance and procedure documents. Specifically, we were able to redo our parent-student handbook. Jim and Jimmy introduced a handbook last year for the first time. We took it and made it a little bit, at least kind of sassidized it. We did it all online, so we'll be ready to roll this out next year for our students and their families. We also redid our employee handbook. I think it was several years before it was kind of looked at, so one of our committees spent a lot of time in redoing our employee handbook, so we'll have that ready to go at the beginning of next year. We also worked on our intranet. Our intranet, as probably many of your intranets, you have 1,000 documents and it's not cleaned up as frequently as it should, so we kind of started new. We've been going through these piece by piece. We're not near completion yet. But specifically, we added all of our APs and exhibits from press. Many times our staff will say we don't have a procedure, we don't have a policy. I'm like, we actually do. It's press, so this will be a nice place where it's housed and they'll be able to see our APs, and this is for our staff only. And then we're building out our business services, curriculum instruction, and human resources. So it'll be a one-stop shop. And then another big lift, we finished our behavior interventions, policies, and procedures. You just approved them today, so thank you. There was a committee working on these for a couple years. I just needed to kind of bring it together and let's get it done. Sent it off to our attorney, and we'll be ready to rock and roll next year. And then our monthly newsletters, our hits, our views are still pretty good. And I'm glad people are paying attention and reviewing our newsletter. Operations, this is the area where we have the smallest information because I think we talk about this the most here. Our benchmark goals were to provide monthly budget progress statements to the board, which I know Rachel is doing, and to improve our clarity. We have the new structure in our tuition, which is being done. We redid our audiology billing, and then our Medicaid cost settlement disbursement was finalized. And then in regard to our facility, right, we decided to pursue 1 or 2 centralized locations while maintaining satellite classrooms, and then we do have a contract with PMA to assist with funding. So our focus for next year, right, we're going to continue to gather all of these benchmark data points. We'll be reviewing them, but really trying to hone in on our focus for next year so that we could really focus on a few things. This looks like a lot, but it fits into each of our areas. So really we want to build a sustainable pipeline. We want to increase satisfaction for both SASN employees and families, as evidence is an increase in participation and by the survey. We want to support the transition to AIM and UPURA pathways, support our new implementation in our transition program, provide professional development and support for our new literacy programs, work with consultants to develop expectations for our SLE program specifically. We also want to reduce our RTOs. I know Lizzie shared that data last year. That's probably one of her biggest goals, is to bring that down. Develop a more comprehensive professional development plan. Some of the things that we're looking at doing next year is developing classroom expectations, roles, and responsibilities for all of our staff. So what, take attendance by 9:30, right? Like kind of back to basics. We also have to develop a sustainable and reasonable attendance process for both staff and students. This was a big struggle this year. So this is something we're going to be diving into next year. Many times students will text the teachers, or the parents will text the teachers when they're not coming. It doesn't get entered, right? It's just not clean. We need to clean that up, and same with our staff attendance. We are going to initiate PLTs and GLTs across all programs consistently. We're going to reinitiate the steering committee, develop classroom partnership agreements for all classrooms, so that's more with the teachers and their assistants. We have a lot of assistants in our programs. We need to make sure everybody knows their roles and have some department expectations and partnership rules that they're going to abide by. We need to expand our intranet. We need to improve our process for purchase orders. And then big ticket items next year. We need to negotiate certified and non-certified support staff contracts. We need to pursue and purchase new facilities. We need to determine funding sources for the facilities. We need to begin design and construction. And then Rachel and I want to review our tuition billing services again and our service menu. I think there's better ways for us to do that we'll be sharing through our finance committee. So a lot here. Really, my biggest want is the focus for next year. If something's missing from here that we need to include, that would be great for us to know. But this is kind of our walking plan for next year, in addition to everything that's in the strategic plan. Any questions, any thoughts, any ideas?
Kudos to you guys, you're doing amazing things. You're
Oh, thanks, Amy.
just have a lot of things that you've already done this year, you and your team has done, so kudos to all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and what are you gonna do second semester?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'll bring in an update.
I appreciate the alignment with the strategic plan, especially since that was, kind of initiated a little while back, and you keeping that in front of us so we can kind of monitor the progress. I mean, you'd almost like bold print about 3 or 4 of the big things for kind of board level. A lot of it's details that you guys are in, which is great to see the update, but we got some big ones coming up there.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the updates with that as well.
Great, thank you.
Well done.
And then the last thing I had was just executive director report. ESY starts the 23rd, runs until the 17th of July. I believe we're completely, we have all of our staff ready to go. Staffing for school year for next year is going pretty well. We're 2 certified positions short as of now. We probably will get some resignations, thank you, coming forward. But we've Claire and Tara and Lizzie have done an unbelievable job recruiting and really being creative, where they're meeting with really good staff. They're like, let's figure out how we could work this within our organization. And then we also have our most valuable employee this quarter. Our folks that are being recognized are Kevin Downs. He's one of our teacher at our Lyle Medical Center. Haley Halleck is our administrative assistant for our deaf and hard of hearing program. Dana Jiris is human resource administrative assistant here. Kelly Story is one of our deaf and hard of hearing teachers. And then Bridget Ross-Bedeck is one of our occupational therapists. So that's my report.
Okay, so we are adjourned here. Gonna get a motion to adjourn the June 11th Board of Directors meeting.
So moved by Roy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?